What has a bigger impact on the project success? The code that meets the visual preferences or a system crashing from heavy WP queries? Most developers would likely prioritize performance, as the system failures can be far more damaging. The way the code looks certainly affects the final results, but this effect is not as significant as issues that prevent users from using the platform. Some businesses lose significant revenue for every minute their website is down. And as developers, it's our responsibility to do everything we can to prevent this. So in this video, we will discuss the importance of WordPress coding standards as the solution to prevent problems that can make your business lose real money. So, how WordPress coding standard helps? In my first video about WordPress coding standards, I focused too much on the visual side of the code, preferences that might differ from person to person. They are much more than just a code style. They are also about ensuring the performance, security and system compatibility. That's what I want to highlight today. To demonstrate this importance, let me show you a few examples that highlight how they help in the development process. The first thing is improving the system performance. Tell me, what's the easiest way to break WordPress with a huge database? You're probably thinking about making a WP query that returns a large number of posts at once, and maybe with meta query. So here we have a simple getPosts function that returns 200 posts per single page, with some small addition of simple meta query that in some cases can be demanding for the server. This is a common mistake made by the WordPress developers. It's easy to make such shortcuts when we only have 10 posts. However, when the system grows, those queries will be hard to handle. So, how do WordPress coding standards help here? They mark the usage of huge posts per page argument or meta query arguments as a warning, immediately indicating that this part of the code requires a special attention. You might argue that it's just a warning, but in our team we follow a strict no error, no warning policy. If the code generates a warning, it is a clear sign that something isn't right. Any such issue must have a valid justification, otherwise the code won't be accepted and must be revised before moving forward. In this case, we can use other, more effective pagination methods, modify the query to return a manageable number of elements, or re-evaluate our business requirements. There are certainly many alternatives to using this kind of shortcuts, and if you are interested in some of them, I insist you to watch my previous video about making a simple architectural change that improves the system performance. Another boost can be achieved in the system security. Next quiz question for you. What comes to mind first when considering a WordPress security and a simple form that processes user input? Data sanitization should be at the top of your list. It's a crucial step that is often overlooked, unfortunately, especially by those just starting with WordPress. Every piece of data that is taken from the users should be filtered and cleaned to prevent security issues like, for example, SQL injection. Here's a simple function that handles the AJAX action and processes the user data. Let's assume that the handle function involves making database queries and requires the after value to be a number. Simply assuming that users will input a number when they see a field with number type in a form can lead to security risks. It is crucial to assume that users might attempt to enter various other inputs, such as a SQL query that could potentially expose your data. So how do WordPress coding standards help in this aspect? When the data is collected from the users, it is flagged as an error if it's not cleaned. While there might be rare cases where the data doesn't need sanitization, those are extremely uncommon. In nearly all scenarios, developers should pause and ensure appropriate data sanitization is in place to maintain security and functionality. In this case, we can just cast a value. It is a simple thing, but we can also use some of the available WordPress functions. We will discuss this in the next videos. Guys, this article is a part of the larger initiative I've been recently putting my heart into. I've been working on something I'm really proud of, a new ebook all about the code linting and formatting in web development. It's filled with practical tips to help you set up the project environment so your code stays clean, consistent and free of those annoying little errors. The plan is to sell it for $15, but if you are on my newsletter, you will get almost 70% discount. Just drop your email in the link that I add to the video description and you will get it just for the $5 when it's ready. Another thing is improving system compatibility. WordPress developers often rely on knowledge shared by the community, but keeping up with all the new recommendations can be challenging. Sometimes when the WordPress authors face a problem, they suggest a specific solution like, I had this issue, so let's fix it by using this function instead. It's obvious that we can't always keep track on these changes, but the WordPress coding standards can track them for us and help us keeping the system compatible. This code uses unlink function to remove the file from the server. WordPress suggests using wp-delete file instead to standardize the file management and give developers more control over this aspect. So WordPress coding standards flag this as something we should look into. It helps label some functions as not recommended and suggest using different ones, letting the developers to create a code that is better aligned with the official WordPress recommendations. WordPress coding standards also improve other aspects. I've covered just 3 examples of how they can improve the code, but they offer much more. For instance, they can flag missing nonce verifications when processing user input in forms, something that is also often overlooked. Or for example, warn against making direct database queries using the WPDB object. I won't go into all the other features they offer, but I believe they provide much more than what's covered in the official documentation. In my opinion, the documentation mainly focuses on visual aspects. This is why I initially overlooked other important elements they provide. That's exactly why I'm creating this updated guide. I had a big wow moment when I discovered this, and I hope you will have too. Just install WordPress Coding Standards, adjust to your needs, and check how they improve the quality of your codebase. So, what's my current choice in the projects we make? I hadn't realized this earlier, but implementing WordPress Coding Standards could have saved me a lot of effort. Before, I had to manually keep track of many crucial elements instead of letting the system handle them automatically for me. Luckily, that's no longer the case. I now use WordPress Coding Standards with a few tweaks, mainly for visual consistency, since I still choose to use PSR 1.2 as a coding style. I've also introduced those standards to my team, ensuring we are all in the same page. Here you can find my PHP-CS config. You can also find a link in the video description. You don't know what the PHP-CS is or how to configure WordPress coding standard yet? No worries there, just check out my previous videos where you can learn more about those tools. So let me know, what are your thoughts? Like me, did you initially think that WordPress coding standards were only about visual aspects? What are the things that you were surprised about? Let me know in the comments and share your experience with others. And that's all for today. I hope that you like this video and I hope that you are interested more in WordPress coding standards. So just check out how they can enhance the way you create the WordPress systems. If you like this video, please remember to thumbs up. Or if you don't already subscribe my channel, please do this now to ensure you stay up to date with the latest content. It will also help me create a better content that is more aligned with your needs. Thank you for staying up with me and see you next time. Bye bye.